Next topic is bearing. A bearing that we have seen in n number of machines application. This bearing plays a very important role since almost all the machines there we are using the conversion of energy from rotational movement to reciprocating or reciprocating into rotational, where and all rotational element revolving elements are there bearings will play a very important role, that is to reduce the friction and to increase the lifespan. A bearing is a machine member which supports, guide and restrain moving elements. All machineries are provided with the supports for rotating shaft. This supporting device is called bearing, and it is a stationary member which carries the load. The portion of the shaft supported by the bearing is known as a journal. The common application of bearings are shafting in workshops, spindles of machine tools such as lathe, drilling, milling machines, axle of automobiles. These are the various place of application of bearing. The next entity will be classification of bearing. The bearing, this rotating element, or a support guide, is classified as follows. First one, depending on the direction of load. Another one is depending on the nature of contact between the working surfaces. Now, depending upon the direction of load to be supported, bearings can be classified into radial bearing, footstep or pivot bearing, thrust or collar bearing. Second one, that is depending upon the nature of contact between the working surfaces. This can be classified into sliding contact bearing and rolling contact bearing. These are all this about classification of bearing. Next topic is types of bearing. So bearing definition is over, its detailed explanation is over, classification is over. Now coming to types of bearing. Bearings can be classified based on the physical appearance as sliding contact and rolling contact bearing. And sliding contact bearing, further it can be classified into full journal bearing, partial journal bearing, thrust bearing, slider bearing, hydrostatic bearing. Further, this thrust bearing can be classified into pivot or step. Next one is collar or conical bearing. And second category, that is rolling contact bearing, that can be classified into two categories such as ball bearing and roller bearing. This ball bearing can be classified into two types such as simple ball bearing and deep groove ball bearing. And roller bearing can be classified into straight roller and taper roller. This is about the types of bearing. In the pic what I have given, that is table 23.1 properties of metallic bearing materials, you are getting idea that here he has given bearing material. What are the various bearing materials such as tin based babbitt, lead based babbitt, lead, bronze, copper lead, aluminium, silver lead deposited. So these are the various materials that we are using as a bearing material. So now in first row he has given various elements such as fatigue strength, conformability, embeddability, anti-scoring, corrosion resistance, thermal conductivity. So these are all the main properties of a metallic bearing that we need to learn first. Now the properties of sliding contact bearing. When the journal and the bearing are having proper lubrication, that is, there is a film of clean, non-corrosive lubricant in between, separating the two surfaces in contact. The only requirement of the bearing material is that they should have sufficient strength and rigidity. However, the conditions under which bearing must operate in service are generally far from ideal, and thus the other properties what we are going to discuss must be considered while selecting the best material for the bearing. So now here we already discussed regarding the lubrication, what type of lubrication, all those things. Further, that lubrication is going to take different types, while in the selection of bearing, that we'll discuss later. Now first of all, we have to study various properties of bearing materials, such as compressive strength, fatigue strength, conformability, embeddability, boundability, corrosion resistance, thermal conductivity, and thermal expansion. These are the various properties we need to study first. Yes, the first property of bearing material while we are selecting, we need to consider is compressive strength. The maximum bearing pressure is considerably greater than the average pressure obtained by dividing the load to the projected area. This is by fundamental equation. Pressure is equal to force by area, that is load by area. Therefore, the bearing material should have high compressive strength to withstand this maximum pressure, so as to prevent extrusion or the other permanent deformation of the bearing. So here the first and foremost condition is it's supposed to have high compressive strength. Either it is a rolling contact bearing, or sliding contact bearing, or it may be, say for example, journal bearing. It's supposed to have the high compressive strength. And the second property is fatigue strength. The bearing material should have sufficient fatigue strength so that it can withstand repeated loads without developing surface fatigue cracks. That is, it is of major importance in aircraft and automotive engines. So we know already about the fatigue. Fatigue is nothing but stress induced for the repeated load condition. So here what he used to say is fatigue strength of the bearing material supposed to be high enough. It should not fail immediately, or it should not give the chance to propagation or initiation of cracks. Hope this is a new term to you, that is conformability. It is the ability of the bearing material to accommodate shaft deflection and bearing inaccuracies by plastic deformation without excessive wear and heating. This is one of the very important property. Here the conformability is nothing but the comfort zone, level of comfortness of the material. So here this bearing material supposed to have a property such that as and when there is a because we know shaft which is continuously rotating, as and when there is a shaft deflection and bearing inaccuracies, it should not affect on a regular rotation, and it should not it's supposed to reduce the wear and heating of the material. So such a kind of material we supposed to make use. Next property is embeddability. It is the ability of bearing material to accommodate small particles of dust, grit, etc. without scoring the material of the journal. So here embeddability is nothing but it's supposed to accept if there is a presence of small particles of dust or something, the bearing should not stop. That material what we are using, it should not stop its working. Such a kind of material we supposed to have. It's supposed to have high embeddability. Next property is bondability. So many high capacity bearings are made by bonding one or more thin layers of a bearing material to a high strength steel shell. Thus, the strength of the bond, that is bondability, is an important consideration in selecting bearing material. So here we know, so some of the materials, its capacity is entirely based on the bonding ability of the materials. How the covalent bond a material have, that plays very important role. If the bond or strength or its BHN, say compression, is very high, then it can take maximum load. So here it's supposed to have high bondability. This is one more property. Next very important property is corrosion resistance. The name itself suggests the corrosion resistance property is supposed to be high. Then lifespan of the bearing is also going to become good. The bearing material should not corrode away under the action of lubricating oil. This property is of particular importance in internal combustion engines where the same oil is used to lubricate the cylinder walls and bearings. In the cylinder, the lubricating oil comes into contact with the hot cylinder walls and may oxidize and collect carbon deposits from the walls. So this is one of the very important property. The bearing material is supposed to have high corrosion resistance. Next property is thermal conductivity. Thermal conductivity is nothing but what? It's supposed to conduct the heat. Since it is a rotating element, it is going to carry more heat. The bearing material should be of high thermal conductivity so as to permit the rapid removal of the heat generated by the friction. Here, uh, he used to tell the bearing material what we are selecting supposed to have high thermal conductivity. So it is possible to cool down the bearing as early as possible. And the last property is thermal expansion, ability of the material to expand for the heat. The bearing material should be of low coefficient of thermal expansion so that when the bearing operates over a wide range of temperature, there is no undue change in the clearance. So this is very very important. The material should not, the material what you are selecting for bearing should have low thermal expansion. These are all the various properties of the bearing material what we are going to select, and earlier itself we discussed one of the table in that it is going to give the idea regarding what are the various materials have which are all the strength as per our requirement we supposed to select by referring that particular table. So we can say tin based babbitt material and aluminium, sorry, tin based babbitt material is one of the best element for the bearing material. Next entity will be various terms used in hydrodynamic journal bearing. Here, a hydrodynamic journal bearing is shown in figure in image. O is the center of journal and O dash is the center of bearing. So here you must consider, I will upload one pic, then you are going to get the idea regarding the same. In this particular pic, he has mentioned line of centers, journal and bearing. So here you must know the element, that is what you mean by bearing, what you mean by journal. Bearing is nothing but a support or a guide, and a journal is nothing but it is a shaft placed inside that support guide or that bearing. So here hydrodynamic bearing is nothing but here we are using fluid instead of balls or cylinders, that we have to work out. And look at that figure in that he has given O and O dash. O is nothing but center of the journal and O dash is nothing but center of the bearing. So now here various terms we supposed to study such as H naught, E, R, capital R and small letter r and w, and other than this some of the terms we need to study. Here for the better understanding we need to consider capital D is equal to diameter of the bearing, small letter d is the diameter of the journal, and L is equal to length of the bearing. Various terms we need to study is diameter clearance, radial clearance, diameter clearance ratio, eccentricity, minimum oil film thickness, attitude or eccentricity ratio, short and long bearing. These are the various important terms in for the examination point of view as well as a problem purpose that we have to study. Here the diameter clearance, it is the difference between the diameters of the bearing and the journal. Mathematically diameter clearance is given by the difference between the diameters of bearing and journal, that is capital D minus small d. Radial clearance is half of the diameter clearance, or it is the difference between the radii of a bearing and the journal. Mathematically, radial clearance is given by C1, that is equal to capital R minus small r, that is equal to capital D minus small d divided by 2, or that is equal to C by 2. Sometimes for diameter clearance he will use the notation C or C suffix D, at radial clearance he will use the notation as C suffix R. That also he is going to use. Please be careful about this. Next, diameter clearance ratio. It is the ratio of diameter clearance to the diameter of the journal. Mathematically, diameter clearance ratio can be written as diameter clearance ratio is equal to C by D, where C is nothing but diameter clearance, that is capital D minus small d whole divided by D. Capital D minus small d divided by D. Next will be eccentricity. From the given sketch itself, it is clear that the eccentricity is nothing but a offset distance, or it is the radial distance between the center O of the bearing and the displaced center O dash of the bearing under the load. It is denoted by E. So generally this E or eccentricity, it regularly happens because that the shaft is continuously rotating as per the load. When load is high, the journal tends to move downward, and when there is no load, it tends to move upward. So it is like fluctuating. That displacement, that is O to O dash, is called as eccentricity. Next term is minimum oil film thickness. This is very, very important. This is denoted by H naught. It is the minimum distance between the bearing and the journal under complete lubrication, under lubrication condition. It is denoted by H naught and occurs at the line of centers as shown in the figure. Its value may be assumed as C by 4. The maximum value is diameter clearance by 4. That is the max. Just refer that figure, you are going to get the idea. It is the least minimum thickness when the casing is completely filled with the oil. Next term will be attitude or eccentricity ratio. It is a ratio of the eccentricity to the radial clearance. Mathematical attitude or eccentricity ratio is defined as epsilon, that is equal to E divided by C1, or we know that eccentricity we can write in terms of like C1 minus H naught. Refer the figure, you will get the idea. C1 minus H naught divided by C1, and C1 LCM we can take. Okay, so C1 divided by C1 minus H naught divided by C1. So we can write first term as 1 minus H naught divided by C1, that is equal to 1 minus 2 H naught by C. So here what we did is radial clearance C1, that we replaced by diameter clearance. So eccentricity ratio or attitude is supposed to remember epsilon is equal to 1 minus 2 H naught divided by C, where C is nothing but diameter clearance. In maximum cases, we are using diameter clearance only rather than radial clearance. Next and last term, that is short and long bearing. This entirely depends on the dimension of L and D. So here short bearing, if the ratio of the length to the diameter of the journal, so the dimension for journal is diameter as well as length. Here relation is going to give. If the ratio of the length to the diameter of the journal is less than 1, then it is called as short bearing. On the other hand, if ratio length to diameter is greater than 1, then it is called as long bearing. And one more is there. Suppose if length and diameter are equal, or ratio L by D is equal to 1, then it is called as square bearing. These are all the entities about short, long and